Hello, I'm Earl Taylor, Chief Marketing Officer at the Marketing Science Institute. As many of you know, nonprofit MSI serves as the bridge between marketing theory and business practice, and our goal is to move the needle on significant marketing problems. We do this by funding research by leading academics worldwide on topics voted by our 70-plus corporate sponsors and disseminating that research through members-only events and a variety of publications. I'm very pleased to welcome you to another MSI For Members by Members webinar. This is a series of webinars on subjects related to MSI's current research priority topics. First, I'd like to point out the Chat with Presenter function in the left-hand corner of your screen. Please use this feature to send through any questions you have for Venky during the presentation. We'll gather the questions and have a brief Q&A session following the presentation. And now I'd like to introduce you to today's featured speaker. Venky Shankar is Professor of Marketing at the Coleman Chair in Marketing and Director of Research at the Center for Retailing Studies at the Mays Business School at Texas A&M University. His areas of expertise include digital business, marketing strategy, innovation management, retailing, international marketing, pricing, and branding. Venky has been rated one of the world's most influential scientific minds by Thomson Reuters and as a top 10 scholar worldwide on innovation. He is a winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award from in retailing from the American Marketing Association, and among his many other numerous awards is the Green Award for the best article in the Journal of Marketing Research. He's co-editor of the Handbook of Marketing Strategy, author of the Shopper Marketing Monograph through MSI, and again, he has served as editor and advisor on a number of academic journals. He is a two-term academic trustee of the Marketing Science Institute and a three-time winner of the Crow Award for Outstanding Teaching. So we are delighted to have Venky today to talk to us about his topic. So with that, I will turn things over to you, Venky.
Thank you, Earl, and howdy.
Howdy from Texas, yes.
Dialing from all over the world, so can't say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'd say good howdy, as we say in Texas and Texas A&M. But welcome to this webinar, and I really appreciate all of you taking time to be part of this. My goal here is to share with you what my research and my view of omnichannel shopping behavior, particularly led by mobile. And as you can see the agenda, I have 4 things that I would like to talk about. I want to start with mobile at what I call omniverse. That's the shopper perception of an omnichannel universe. So sharpen to omniverse. So that I want to lead off with that. Maybe give you some examples and maybe some videos throughout, short videos, and talk a little bit about some of the insights that I have gained from my research with a number of people, including my doctoral student, Unnati Narang, on mobile app adoption, drop in app failures. And then we'll talk a little bit about future of mobile at Omniverse and conclude with what strategies should managers adopt. I know a lot of you are here from diverse sectors. Many of you are from the industry. Many of you from education, particularly research, and some of you are from consulting, some of you are from retailing. So I'd like to make this as general as possible, but after I finish, after about 30 to 40 minutes, I'd like for Q&A and like to hear your views on that. And at the end, I'd like to conclude by giving my contacts, and the slides will be made available later on by MSI for anybody to look at. And I try to provide at the bottom of every slide the references, so in case you needed a deeper dive in any of this, you can click onto those websites and get more materials from that. So with that, let me just go over to the first item in the agenda, which is really, I want to start with a quick question. Do you or have you used a mobile app? It's probably almost all of you, so I'd appreciate it if you could click yes or no so that we can take a quick look at the results. So this is a quick poll for me to get a sense of how much of an app user you are. So I can see the responses coming in, and almost I can see an overwhelming number, 95% or so. So thank you for that. So at least I know that it's speaking to the audience that really handles mobile apps very well. So I want to start with the quick overview of what a mobile-led omniverse looks like. So this is a diagram of what any of us shopping might be involved in. You can see a lot of branded retailers around the circle here, but right at the center, that's the shopper. That's the center of attention for a lot of marketers, and the shopper is confronted and uses a number of devices, number of channels, and typically the shopper is thinking about operating in terms of how to use all these channels to really interact with the brands and the firms. And here's a quick video introduction to the omnichannel shopping. There are some stats that come at the bottom. You might want to look at that. Okay, in the interest of time, I want to move on to that. Gives you a quick picture about how shoppers are shopping with mobile leading the shopping. So if you want to talk a little bit about the role of mobile, conceptually speaking, it is ubiquitous, it is location-driven, personalized, very immediate in terms of people being able to interact through a smartphone or a tablet or phablet or any kind of mobile device, wearable included. From discovery of any information to all the way to fulfillment and product reviews in the shopping cycle, it's there throughout. And just to give you an example, over 20% of Starbucks orders are originating from the order and pay app that they introduced. This was in 1.5 years ago, but now it may be 25% or so. Another interesting statistics is that there are 2 billion smartphones out in the world by 2020. 70% of global shoppers will have smartphone, and that includes the 7.5 billion people in the world, and that's a high penetration. And if you're wondering who are the 30% who are still not using smartphone, I guess there are people who may not be able to afford it as of now, but hopefully in the next 10 years or so, penetration would be even higher. 1/3 of consumers start mobile search on a branded website, and 1/4 on a branded app. So that's the amount that branded companies will have at stake in terms of being able to access the shoppers. By 2019, a majority of about 1 billion plus websites will be mobile optimized. And that's a big, huge number because currently that's one of the limitations of a lot of penetration of branded applications. 2016, mobile commerce was 142 billion, but the expected influence is 7 times higher, about $1 trillion in sales, according to Forrester. Mobile apps dominate the digital media. All the mobile applications, the talk, voice, data, 86% of the digital time is hogged by mobile. And 58+% of overall digital time spent on apps among the mobile. So that's a significant number. The one concerning issue for a lot of marketers through mobile is that average app is not sticky. So 90% of the users drop an app within the first month of download. And in the retail space, 70% of them drop within the 90 days. It's a little bit better in the retail, but still this is stunning. And if you can see, most of the retailers are empowering in-store shoppers with devices such as Bluetooth and beacon, and mobile technologies are really innovating shopping experience. Many companies, particular retailers, have synced their beacons to smartphones so they can alert shoppers when they come into the picture. Here are some global e-commerce trends, or m-commerce trends, that may be interesting for you to look at. And this is a very quick video, maybe less than 2 minutes, and that gives you some diverse set of penetration all over the world that all are converging to a mobile commerce. So that gives you a picture of how the global trends are with respect to that. Let me ask you quickly, those of you who represent an organization or company here that is involved in this space, do you have a mobile app? Just yes or no, quick. So I'm seeing the responses come in. I see about 55% of you have a mobile app. So that means a large number of the organizations are still in the process of creating a mobile app, or maybe not sure whether to launch a mobile app or not. But that gives me a good starting point for my next set of issues that I want to talk about, is that because mobile app is the fundamental way in which shoppers are accessing and interacting with firms, we did a number of studies. Particularly, I'm going to share with you the results of 3 studies that we did, one on the effects of mobile app adoption, study number 2 on effect of mobile app being dropped, what is the effect on shoppers' purchases, and then when shoppers encounter failure in using the mobile app, maybe due to technology, maybe due to bandwidth, maybe due to a functional problem in the app itself, whatever be the reason, we wanted to study how the mobile app really drives purchases and also leads to returns, and what's the kind of overall behavior. And for this, we were very fortunate to work with a a huge retailer of mobile games, and they had access to about 32 million shoppers, and we were able to dive deep and look at this very carefully. So just to give you an example how the mobile app looks like, this is how it looks like. So typically you have a store mapping facility that'll be in an app, and then the product features, catalogs that people can search and find out about products. There's a loyalty program information that can be had at the touch of a finger, and offers, mobile offers, and other information that's provided. So that gives you some overview of that. So first, we wanted to understand what happens when people start adopting a mobile app. Does it increase the purchases of shoppers, not just in the mobile channel, but across all the channels? For example, does it lead to people buying more in brick and mortar? Does it lead to people buying from the web? Or does it remain the same, right? So the first set of findings I'm going to show you is the overall effect of app adoption. Okay, so there's two figures here. I'm going to first talk about the one on the left. We see two bar charts right next to each other, and if you can see carefully, the deep purple one is app adopters, and the light purple one is the non-adopters. So the time period, over a period of time after adoption, the adopters tend to buy more. The non-adopters also tend to buy more, but not as much as the adopters. So certainly, adopting an app helps increase overall purchase. This is the overall purchase across all channels. But there is there's some bad news that there's a lot of returns too. So you can see the second picture on the right, the deep purple graph, the bar shows the returns, which doubles for adopters, and actually return goes down marginally for the non-adopters. And we went further deeper and found out theoretically what happens. Why do shoppers buy more but then return more? So there could be a lot of reasons, and we found a number of reasons. One is, people are impulsive, they buy more, and then they figure out they may not need it, they may return it, or they may be tempted to try more, so that they can see what they're getting in different channels. So that's what we found. And in my own personal experience, for example, this Black Friday, my daughter wanted an iPad Pro. So we had the app. We had a Target app. She just clicked it and then ordered it on the app, but then realized that it's going to be shipped after Christmas, so she didn't want to wait that long. So we rushed to the Black Friday line in the Target store, and then we got it in the store. So as soon as we got it, we had to cancel the app order. So there could be reasons like this, and I'm just one small example of this. So let me just show you, we did an analysis by what are the features of the apps that shoppers actually use, and which are the features that are helping the increase in purchases. Okay, so the most frequently used one is the product features. That's catalog, search, inquiry, what product that I want, and so on. The second most is loyalty program. Many of the apps have loyalty benefits. So when you have loyalty benefits, people frequently see how many points do they have, what status do they have, where would they go next, and so on. And lesser used functionalities or banner ads that might come there. Even offers are not as frequently used as loyalty, but it's the next one in the order. So to summarize the effects of app adoption, what we found was app adoption leads to 21% increase in purchase incident. That means 21% more likelihood of buying than they used to buy before. But then what we found was conditional on purchase, they spent 12% less. So they tended to buy more but less each time. But overall, net was higher. So even though the return incidence was higher, but the return amount was not significantly higher. So we found a 24% lift in the net monetary value of adopters. And which features have the highest impact? As I mentioned before, it's product, offers, loyalty program in that order. And what we found is an inverted U-shape between number of unique features used in action. So the more features people use, it diminishes after a point in time. After that, it becomes a nuisance for shoppers. Let me share with you what happens when people drop apps. This is what we call the stickiness of apps in mobile, which is very important. Besides the statistics in our data, what we found was there was a drastic drop in stickiness in the months after download. So, for example, first set of bars in the top in blue shows the significant drop after 1 month. So from 100%, people are dropping down to 36% in terms of dropping. A drop means they never use it again. And out of the 44% stop using it forever, right? So in other words, when people drop from first month to second month by 2/3, and 44% of them actually stop using it forever. And that's a significant concern. So we try to find out what's the effect of this in purchases, for example. And what we did was we actually looked at the data on a holiday season during the holiday because we wanted to see what's the impact of that. And sometimes during the holiday season, things go up, and after the holiday season, the purchases come down. So as you can see, we see two sets of figures. On the left is model-free. We did a lot of controls, as we do in the rigorous research. We had to match the sample using propensity score analysis, and we had to do a lot of rigorous control for external events. So I'd like to focus on the one on the right, which is a matched sample. So even after matching the sample, we see on the left set of two bars are pre, that is before drop, and the right set is after drop, post. And you can see on the left, the purple one is basically users, and the red one is the droppers. So the droppers actually drop more than the purple one because this is after the holiday season. And we found that drop can be significantly high. So one of the conundrums of a good mobile app is that app can increase adoption as purchases by 24%, but at the same time, it can lead to a lot of drop. And when people drop, that also leads to overall decrease in purchases across channels. So obviously, app design has to be done very well. What we found was some of them are due to app failures. So particularly during the holiday time, people access the app a lot, and then it leads to a lot of failures. So now, what can marketers do to avoid those failures? Well, first, let's understand what's the impact of failures. To summarize the app drop effect, so we found that shoppers buy 17% less often after an app drop. But shoppers who drop the app have also 15% lower monetary value. So they also, their wallet drop with the app really decreases. So it's not good news for app makers or branded apps. So what could they do to better prevent this? First of all, let me also share with you what happens when app fails. And this time we try to analyze when people are using the app a lot during the holiday season, their sales is going up, purchases are going up across the channels. But when on the left you have when there's somebody experienced a failure or no failure, obviously the no failure group remains kind of flat, as you can see in the red one. But the people who are having a lot of failures are the frequent users. So the more frequently they use, the more the chances some technology failure or some app failure results. And so because this is the holiday season, pre and post, it jumps. However, on the right, it's important to see within people who have experienced failures, those people who experience more failures, that's high failure ones, and the low failure ones. The people who have experienced low failures, that's the red bar, goes up much higher before and after the holiday season. So in other words, there are a lot of people who use the app a lot and experience failure, but if you minimize the failure, you can have a higher probability or higher monetary value at the end of it. So clearly, if app makers or people who have apps, including retailers and branded app companies, should be worried about not only creating great apps to engage the shopper, but also to make sure that make sure that they have less failures, and make sure that the drop is not there by making engagement very high. So let me talk a little bit about what might be the future of Omniverse that marketers should be thinking about. First of all, chatbots. Many of your companies may already have this. This is called conversational commerce. So using a mobile device, you can chat with a lot of companies and interact with them. You can get, very simple answers such as to your questions. Could be service questions, could be to purchase questions, could be product features, offers, and so on. And this has been around, but it's not really taken out as much. But what is promising is using artificial intelligence to enhance customer experience. In this regard, many companies have experimented a lot. Tommy Hilfiger, for example, has one at New York where they actually allow you to interface with a robot that's very well assisted using cognitive computing, I believe, from IBM Watson. And North Face, for example, has experimented for their jackets and other clothing where people can use some kind of a virtual assistant. All of us are used to virtual assistant, voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Google Now. And it's an expansion of that, but in a much more customized way, so people get answers to the questions regarding clothing and North Face. And similarly, Kate Spade has an Ever Purse, which is basically another attempt to use your mobile to interact more intensely with that. There are a few others that are also working on this. For example, Lowe's is having a virtual AI-assisted kitchen. For example, you can see using virtual reality the kitchen and get artificial intelligence to tell you which might look good in your room and so on. So these are some of the experiments already underway. Speaking about AI and VR, many of you know that right from Google Cardboard that several companies like, I'll give you a video shortly after Rebecca Minkoff, and there they started using this with the shoppers to let them experience all the effects of clothing and apparel. And right now, a lot of other companies are trying out their own VR virtual reality stuff. And let me ask you at this point in time, how many of your companies are working or has developed a AI or VR or even augmented reality applications, which is primarily mobile driven? So I see the responses coming in, and all I see is, as I expected, only maybe 10 to 15% of your companies are using AI, VR, or AR. So this is where I think the next set of mobile-led omnichannel experiences, shopping experiences are going to come from. This addresses two important priority issues of MSI. One is causal effect, and the other is the customer experience. We are trying to isolate and see what is the impact of mobile-led innovations, and we are also trying to see what customer or shopper experience does it lead to. And let me just suggest some managerial strategies and also show you some videos of how some companies are already acting on it and what are some of the payoffs on that. So the first one I want to show you is Macy's. Even though Macy's is closing hundreds of stores, that's mainly because they have discovered that people don't need lots of bricks and mortar stores. They are overstored. They're using Watson and Satisfy for even in-store personal shopping companion that could result in sales overall across all channels. So let me just play this video very quickly and show you. There's no sound on it, in case you're wondering why there's no sound. It's all using the captions below you be able to understand. So if you walk into Macy's stores, you can get this Macy's on call where you can query within the store and you'll be directed to the right place, and this is already on. and it could also respond to you, your specific needs. So you see 2 locations in Florida near Miami that they have piloted and been used successfully. They might roll it out into many more locations. So that's a quick view into what Macy's is doing. Let me show you what Rebecca Minkoff is doing. Many of you know that it's a luxury retailer, clothing, and particularly they have shops all over the place. The one in New York is what I think shown in this video.
One of the most fascinating things about watching our millennial consumer is she's grown up as a digital native. She uses her mobile device 150 times a day. In the store, the majority of them immediately pull up our app or pull up our mobile site, and then they start looking for that exact product to read about the ratings and reviews. And then they might see if it isn't in store, if we don't have it available here, they want to see can they buy it from our site. For me, the new definition for luxury is being able to be empowered to select the service level that she wants, when she wants, on the device that she wants. It's all connected, which I think is where the magic really comes in. We started to incorporate some of the best things that we know in the online world to the offline world in our connected store. We can really look at how our consumers engaging with us, not only in our mobile app, also in the fitting room, and also on our website. We are using all of this data across our ecosystem to inform everything that we're doing and make it a better experience for our consumer. Maybe she's looking at a number of different dresses. Then maybe she goes to the store and she tries on 2 or 3 in our fitting room and she doesn't convert there, but that's why we have save your fitting room session to your phone. And then you can buy it directly from your mobile device or you can call the store. As a result of all of this, we've seen a 6 to 7 time increase in our ready-to-wear sales in such a short period of time of 5 to 6 months. Technology is going to be able to do phenomenal things, but you need to figure out what's right for your consumer, what's right at that moment in the shopping journey, and what should you do for her.
Okay, you saw a 7x jump because Rebecca Minkoff is able to integrate mobile with these magic mirrors and try to give a seamless experience. Another example is Tommy Hilfiger. I talked about it earlier, but they are also combining with Target to deliver a 3D VR shopping experience. So you go to the Tommy Hilfiger section and Target, and you are actually you can put on those gear, the VR gear, and you get an impressive look foray into all Tommy Hilfiger country. So you can see endless rows and aisles of products. So you are almost transported into a different land, and that's how they wanted to sell you the dream or the fantasy to be able to make you shop. Let me just conclude with one video that's Amazon Go. Many of you may have already checked this out, but this is a powerful way.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
Okay, so you saw a glimpse of what the melding of multiple channels might look like, and driven primarily by mobile as the centerpiece. So I want to conclude with a few takeaways in here. As I said before, mobile is the center of the Omniverse from a shopper's point of view. It clearly strongly drives all the shopping and other channels, and managers should be thinking about using mobile as a gateway to promote cross-channel activity, much like the Amazon Go and all the other examples you've seen. Clearly from the research that we've done, app is the fundamental way for people to get engaged and interacted with branded firms. And they are much more valuable app users than non-users, and managers should try to think about how to best acquire and most importantly retain, because dropping is a huge problem. And the only way you can arrest the drop is by focusing on product features, because these are the sticky ones, loyalty programs and offers, and try to avoid the trap of all-in-one app design. So many apps are trying to be all things to all people and then give a slew of features. People freeze when they have so many features, and you have to concentrate on one that add value. And the only way to mitigate, one of the ways to mitigate app drop is by enhancing the engagement, by concentrating on the two sticky features I talked about. Product inquiry is very important, loyalty program, access and tracking is so important to a lot of shoppers. And the best way firms can move forward, in my view, is that they have to continuously research shopper interaction. And these emerging technologies, led by mobile, whether it's artificial intelligence assisted, VR or AR, they should be thinking about how do I basically enhance the capability of mobile using these technologies. So I want to stop here because I wanted to give more time for Q&A. And then conclude by saying in case you're interested, they have 4 papers that will capture all of this. And these go back from 2009 all the way to the latest MSI report. I think it came out just the first week of January. That's the effect of mobile apps and shopper purchases. And then I would love to get follow-ups from you, particularly those of you who work in the real world and who may be interested in issues to research. Particularly I would love to, given my email address, I'd love to hear from you what questions about omnichannel and mobile are keeping you awake at night. And would you be interested in partnering for further research on this? So this partnership can come in 2 ways. You can provide some data, or you can partner to conduct some A/B tests or field experiments, or in any other way. But these are some of my thoughts as I want to conclude here and give you some time for Q&A.
Thanks, Venky. That's great. And I really appreciate your making the point at the end here about collaborating with the members of the audience who are interested in that. That really is the whole idea behind the MSI bridge between the business world and the academic world. And it's great to see an example of that. For those of you who might have joined a little bit late, just wanted to remind you that we will be posting this webinar archived version on our website. We'll send you a follow-up with a link. And if you missed the first part, or if some of the audio was a little dim at first, you should be able to watch that and adjust accordingly. And I want to remind the live audience to send any additional questions through the chat with presenter function in the left-hand corner of your screen. We do have some questions actually that came in during your presentation, Venky, and I'll start with one that speaks directly to the example you gave at the end, Amazon Go. Pam said, what is the potential for Amazon Go to change or disrupt some of the mobile behavior that you described, and do you see that other retailers are likely to test or adopt this?
Great question. Actually, Amazon itself is in a pilot mode. Although they're a very secretive firm, I don't know if there's anybody in the audience from Amazon. the thinking behind a lot of brick and mortar retailers is one of scare, because if you look at the two major segments of consumers that are going to be following this would be the millennials and the Generation Z, because they're all used to having a mobile wallet. They are all used to having everything, all transactions. They don't like paper and so on. So they would be most benefited by this, and there'd be huge value for them. But there are lots of people, including me, that are kicking and screaming before adopting this. But I think this is the future. Basically, people don't want to be having to port multiple objects, multiple things, and multiple financial statements and documents. Some of the retailers who are closing shop, like Sears, and Limited is completely shuttered now. It's all going online. They would find that this is the progress that they would have. They want to keep physical stores and make people go through mobile and online to experience that. So there's a lot of people that would be benefited, especially the retailers will be overstored.
A couple of questions to follow up on that, kind of elaborating on your answer thus far. At the outset, you talked about, the mobile app adoption. It was pretty high in the audience, although there's a lot of fall off, as you pointed out early on. And I'm wondering, when this phenomenon first began a few years back, there was a debate about whether or not these were the latest version of the so-called walled garden. That is, I've got my Amazon app, and I can only use it at the Amazon grab-and-go store. But to your point a moment ago, it's a single-purpose app. It's simple. It's straightforward. I understand how to use it. But it's not exposing me to the full range of interactions on the Internet. And so I'm sort of captive in that one device and with that one retailer. And the other model would be I've got a mobile payment device, but I can use it anywhere that accepts those types of payments, and I'm not locked into one retailer. So how do you see that playing out? It seems like there's an assumption here that one retailer could sort of just own you and have that mobile device for payment and search and everything else that you described. Are consumers actually going to want to limit themselves to those choices and have only that small handful of apps, or are they going to want to continue to access the much wider Internet and comparison shop and so forth?
That's an excellent question. This is the tension for a lot of consumers. As I mentioned in our research finding, even within an app, if you put in too many features, shoppers don't want to use all of them. So the perception is very similar for shoppers. I don't want to have 1,000 apps. I want to pick and choose the apps that gives me the highest value. But having said that, there's a value in having branded apps. Because some of the brands like Starbucks is very sticky. People, even though it doesn't give me an exposure to all the restaurants, all the coffee shops, all the different types of eateries out there, I still would like to use that because this is a place I frequent very often. I use their products, and I find the features appealing to me. So there'll be some winners and a lot of losers in that. But more interestingly, what we found in the research is that a lot of the future apps itself may be limited because voice-assisted AI technologies could quite soon replace the need for an app, need for an app that you have to touch and navigate and so on. And it's very scary. The rate at which the AI is learning is phenomenal. For example, the Watson, IBM Watson cognitive computing platform it's 5 times more powerful than when it beat the Jeopardy champion. And it's learning by the day. And actually in Sweden, there's a Swede bank, some of you may know, they use an application called Nina. What it is, it's a natural language processor, and it takes 100 customer queries. It started with that, and then it learned so much from the queries. Within 1 year, it has outdone all the human agents in terms of the service levels, mainly through voice. And so there is that possibility in the future. Apps may not be existing. It could be all, voice activated, and maybe a combination of voice and touch. But for the time being, apps are there for majority of retailers and manufacturers to really increase the engagement. And that's why there are companies that are trying to make their apps as much of a go-to app as possible. But it's very hard to find one app that can do everything. It can do my grocery shopping, can do my durable shopping, my insurance shopping, all of them in one. It's very hard. And that's why you see a proliferation of apps now.
That's interesting, too, because some of your descriptions about the mobile app usage early on suggested we're in an early stage of adoption of a new technology. It's pretty widespread, but consumers really haven't figured out how they want to use it. And I wonder if 150 years ago or so, when American consumers first started going into department stores with all the choices that they had, did they overshop and return? It seemed like there was a lot of experimentation going on with the apps, and it's a good reminder that by the time we sort of figure that out and consumers figure it out, we may actually be on to a different way of interacting with retailers. So we may not want to put all of our eggs in the app basket, so to speak. I have a related question, too, though, on the grab-and-go idea. The video that you showed had people coming in, grabbing one item and walking out the door, paying with the mobile app as they went through the scanner. But the whole idea behind a lot of stores, of course, is to get you to stay and browse. There is a good reason why the supermarkets have the milk refrigerators at the back of the store. You have to navigate through the store to get there, and your errand to get milk ends up buying half a dozen other products on the way. So is there, from a retailer standpoint, a practical limit on making it too easy for the consumer to just run in, grab an item, and leave, as opposed to what traditionally has been the purpose of the brick-and-mortar store, which is to encourage the browsing and variety-seeking?
That's also a difficult question for a lot of retailers because, on the one hand, retailers want the convenience, particularly the omnichannel ease of shopping, returning, browsing, and so on. And at the same time, you want to increase impulse purchase, or you want to increase their dwell time, if you will, in the physical store as well as in the digital store. But there are some interesting findings in the last year or so. There are a couple of research that showed that, just by offering shoppers the facility of returning your products in a store, I think it was Best Buy. I was talking to the Best Buy vice president and said that is tremendously increased. So you could have a mobile app, Best Buy mobile app, and you order it and you don't like it, it returns, just come to the Best Buy store. That had given them a lift of about 20% just by coming, because they don't come to just return, they come and buy something else in the shop. So I think if you manage it carefully, you could actually have a win-win. But there's a danger of not being, a Luddite and refusing to, let people do this digitally in the store because people may not even choose you in the first place. And that's why it's more of a defensive move also for retailers and companies to have all these features.
Right. Once one does it, almost the others have to, just to maintain parity. I want to come back to your comment about the increasing use of artificial intelligence. The example you gave of the Sweet Bank, where the artificial intelligence algorithm, if you will, was better than the personal sellers, customer service reps. Two related questions. One, Jane asked, just more broadly, do you see these changes applying to services as well as products? And I think maybe the answer is yes based on that, but do you want to elaborate to what extent there might be a difference in using mobile apps to receive services as opposed to maybe searching for and buying products?
I think the sweet spot starts with services. If you think about even online digital, most of the online migration happened in travel services to begin with, because their services are not really physically tangible, and so you could interact as much with the digital channels. and get things done. So the power of you to be better served to a service is very high for a service. That's why your banking, insurance, travel, you would find that artificial intelligence will have a ready applicability. But with physical products, the delivery and returns and the accessories and all of them, they would actually make it a little bit longer in terms of artificial intelligence. For example, some studies are now finding that, we all have heard of showrooming, where people would go to Best Buy and then check out a product and then buy the lowest price online. But now we have web grooming, where people just do all the search online, whether it's a desktop or the mobile, and then because they have to take physical products, whether it's furniture or any kind of physical products, they will like to go to the store, and because they would have picked the right ones based on all the web grooming that they have done, and then pick the right product. So in there, if you have an assistant to help you, the assistant will tell you which store to go, what time, and all those things. That it stops there. But in service, it's very seamless and natural. You can do the insurance, for example. You can ask a artificial agent for you to, search for the best insurance, auto insurance quote, do the negotiation, whatever it is, back and forth, and then finish it. I think it'll be much faster because there's no delivery of products or services involved. So there, the potential, I feel, will be much higher in services.
That's a great segue into another question that there was actually two sort of similar questions by Roberto and Madeline. And that is asking the role of the sales representative in, say, luxury items, luxury purchases. In theory, I suppose you could go online and buy, $5,000 bracelet or something and have it shipped to you by Amazon. But in reality, do people value the experience of talking to a knowledgeable sales rep, or kind of the whole experience of buying a luxury item like that? And is that maybe an area where you wouldn't expect or even want artificial intelligence or automation or grab and go to be the model?
That's an excellent point. We have at a Center for Retail Studies two luxury retailers, Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom, upscale, and they feel that the human touch and the high tech really complement each other. For example, Neiman Marcus has empowered everybody, every sales associate with tablets and some intelligence software so that they can customize the agents to the needs of the high net worth individuals or their clients, but sometimes they want to be left alone and they want to touch themselves and get the things that they want from Neiman Marcus. Similarly, Nordstrom is spending quite close to $2 billion on technology, especially mobile driven, because they find that they have to complement each other. So the bottom line is that you need, even there, as the baby boomers age and you have the millennials coming and Gen Y people coming, they're all more technology savvy. They don't want that much of hand holding in the luxury, and so you need a more sophisticated way of dealing with those clients, and that's what is emerging apparently. Plus, AI can actually help the sales agents to better target and to cater to the needs of individual specifics, because you don't have to remember, 100 customers that you used to remember in the past in your brain. Now it's all AI will tell you this customer, wants this kind of a Prada bag, or this they've bought 4 in the past 5 months, and so on. All this data will be immediately supplied, and so you can be a more powerful sales agent or associate.
Okay, well, that's great. I think we'll wrap up on that note then, and I just want to thank you so much, Venky. If we didn't get to the questions that the audience had, either that you sent in to us or that have occurred to you later, as Venky indicated, he'd love to hear from you, so I encourage you to take a look at that again. The webinar will be archived on our website. You'll be receiving a link to that shortly, and we encourage you to share that with your colleagues, pass it on to others who might be interested. So again, thanks to Venky. Our next webinar will be January 31st at 1 p.m., and will feature Peter Verhoef and our own Kay Lemon talking about work that they've done on synthesizing what we know about customer experience and customer lifetime value. So as always, many thanks to the members of the MSI audience for participating in our member-to-member webinar series, and we look forward to seeing you at our next